Vici has been known to sort of leave their bottom lane, like Dandy throws them a bone and then they're just left to do their own thing and they focus on the top side of the map. We'll see whether Saint can capitalize on that with possibly some aggressive players. Once again, there's the Caitlyn ban.
Yeah, no surprise that Caitlyn being targeted at STYZ. It's kind of his legacy pick when he was previously in the LPL under the LGD banner, now returning under the Saint banner. And if he gets on that champion, it's kind of like riding a bike. You never really forget.
Yeah, exactly right. Even though she has changed a little bit since his LGD days, can put down a few more traps in a row now, as Nidalee is going to be the ban after the rise on the side of Saint. Don't want to see Dandy on a champion that he can definitely get around on, but isn't necessarily one that we've seen a lot of priority on recently.
And I'm also kind of surprised that they're splitting up their bans like this. Typically, especially on red side, we've seen a lot more priority and focus on the likes of EasyHoon.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, Vladimir is of course going to be banned away. And I believe that was a ban that was just let slide from Vici. What is going on? How did they ban an extra champion?
They've got Ezreal banned.
Well, I'm just perplexed as to how Vici's... I think they're now picking. So Vici may have lost a ban.
Priority pick, though. Champions like Rek'Sai are still available. It's not the carry jungler that we've seen Dandy really find success on and kind of have his responsibility be in the team, but it's always nice to see Dandy kind of return to these control-esque junglers, a very cerebral jungler.
It most certainly is. And of course, being able to get back to these sort of utility junglers has been really important. When we saw his first sort of big victory on the Rek'Sai pick, it was like, well, now Vici have found a different way to attack League of Legends, which is really exciting to see. He's not relegated to purely playing the Graves, the Kindred, things like this, and having to carry. What's
really nice is stylistically Vici versus Saint. Saint do struggle on their 5v5, on their 3v3, which is also where Vici tend to struggle. Yeah. They're a cerebral team. They're a very smart team about how they move around the map. They're very punishing if they get leads. I believe they have something like an 83% chance to win the game if they have a gold lead at 20 minutes. And obviously you would say, like, it's a snowball meta. Anyone who has a lead at 20 minutes should be able to close the game. But they have the third highest stat in the LPL on that. The only two teams that have a higher stat of winning the game with a gold lead at 20 minutes are EDG and RNG.
And these are teams that don't do a lot of losing.
Yeah, so it's actually a very telling stat about Vici that they are punishing with their leads, more so than other teams.
Well, Saint, you can see, are going to answer with a Lissandra and a Karma pickup. Karma makes a heck of a lot of sense as being a high priority support, but picking away that Lissandra from EasyHoon, whilst Azir is still available, it's not necessarily like they're attacking that. Snoopy probably has a plan here.
But the thing is that Lissandra can take a double TP much easier than an Azir can. EasyHoon does have the Summoner selected right now. We'll see if he pulls the trigger on that. Yeah. That's something that Vici like to do. But it's much easier to do so on Lissandra because, again, she teleports into a lane. She can immediately lay down hard CC or have an escape available, whereas Azir, usually when he has that TP, he's using it as split push pressure rather than ganking pressure.
Yeah, and we'll see whether he's going to hold on to that one as Ashe currently being hovered for SDYZ. Oh, switched over to the Jhin. She got so excited.
Yeah, because it's really cool, because look at the immediate reaction from EasyHoon. He saw the Ashe flash, and he changed his summoner to Cleanse. And so again, if you're trying to face a team that's really good about moving around the map, very smart, cerebral play, take the Ashe and force them to dodge out of the double teleport because they have to take the Cleanse on the mid laner.
Frozen Tomb probably does a relatively similar thing. So we'll see whether EasyHoon's going to keep that, regardless of the Jhin lock-in that is right here. And Graves has been picked up for March as well, so wanted to take a little bit of fight power there into the jungle. There's now Vici to finish off their roster. Of course, this is still a flex pick here, the Lissandra. Could be going to Snoopy. Could of course, stay with Akon there towards the top side of the map. You mentioned the Swain already, but can definitely vary up that playstyle.
Quickly touching on the Jhin coming out of STYZ, Jhin has seen an increasing number of popularity picks in the LPL. They use him as kind of a very interesting siege tool, and likewise they make sure that they pair him with hard engage and a lot of AoE damage. Typically when Jhin is team fighting in the LPL, he's not really doing anything other than throwing out his ultimate. He's very far back, being used as almost utility CC slow and siege potential rather than kind of standing up on the front lines and looking for that fourth crit auto.
Well, especially when you have the likes of Tempered Fate and the Pillar out of Lung's Trundle as well here to interrupt that curtain call. S2IZ is going to be well and truly out of these fights if he wants to throw out that ultimate.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is the fact that Vici have the two big counters to Jin. You have the longest range displacement in Trundle's Pillar, like you were saying, and then the Tempered Fate. Jin sets himself up, he stands still to do the curtain call.
Yeah.
Pretty much just gets like LeBron dunked on.
Well, at the moment, Saint are actually hovering Acorn's Rumble here. We have seen Rumble making his way back a little bit. Of course, Marin having a pretty fantastic performance despite getting heavily camped. Didn't really matter. Still picked up a heck of a lot of farm and killed a whole bunch of people.
It would be the comfort of taking the Rumble into the Trundle pick. Some tune-ups to Rumble recently, because we've kind of seen him disappear from the meta for a while, is that he's much better at pushing creeps now. His itemization is a little bit in a healthier spot. And again, since we're in kind of a dragon priority meta, any champion that has a ultimate that does well around the dragon pit, like the Equalizer, gets a passive buff.
Not to mention the fact that it synergizes fantastically well with that Frozen Tomb that Snoopy's going to be taking, and he is going to lock away the Rumble. So Saint, with a heck of a lot of damage, every single one of these champions is going to be doing a lot of work, even the Karma.
A lot of AoE damage as well. Pretty much everyone but Jen, but again, if Jen is using his ultimate, then it's pretty much AoE burst damage coming out. Big thing to note is going to be the Lissandra and the Graves being paired up together, and how that's going to focus attention to the mid lane to try to keep Easy Hoon down.
Yeah, feels a lot of like a Wombo combo type comp here out of Saint, though. Could be dangerous with the likes of Tempered Fate there, singling out a bunch of people in a team fight and allowing Vici to use their incredible kill threats in the Sivir and the Azir, especially late game, to take down the priority targets.
My only concern right now, S2AZ did get his Jhin. He's a great Jhin player, but the fact that Vici have prioritized their composition to keep him down when S2IZ is the primary carry statistically of Saint.
Well, we'll see. Because, of course, Vici's roster, this looks like almost they're picked out their champions like these are exactly what they wanted to play without any bans. Coaches are going to shake hands. We'll see whether Vici can have a strong performance here or whether Saint's Wombo is going to be able to take them down in game number 1. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 1 between Vici and Saint for our first game of Week 5's LPL action. First dragon will be a Mountain Drake. As you can see, Saint making their way out of their base. We'll see whether anything interesting happens here in the early stages.
So Vici have a composition that I think fits much closer to kind of the global meta. Again, moving that utility more to the AD carry position rather than a hard carry threat like the likes of Jhin. Although we'll see how STYZ plays this Jhin out in the team fights. It's good to put the likes of Endless or even Xuan on these utility AD carries. They're still struggling a bit with their identity and stepping up and being a carry threat for their teams outside the occasional Twitch pick. But this should be the top side of the map show for Vici, although, like you said, they do like to give their bottom lane a bit of a bone early on. Dandy has said multiple times in interviews that there's more people to kill up there, so he likes to gank the bottom lane. And I say up there because we're having an initiated lane swap. Yeah,
Endless and Caveman actually moving up there. Endless now on the Sivir. Did have a very good performance on the Ezreal, if we're talking about sort of the AD carries from Vici and how they can actually get themselves into carry positions. Ezreal game was pretty fantastic from Endless a couple of weeks ago. But Caveman's Bard, this is a pick that is coveted by Vici.
Yeah, and it's also usually banned away from Caveman. He has great performance on the likes of Braum and Bard, so very much a playmaking-oriented support, so putting him in that position of power. And again, he's probably the shining light or the most stable member when you look at Vici's bottom lane is their support.
Well, this is cheeky out of Vici, as there's the stun onto Acorn. Already exhausted, has to blow the flash, won't get any of these creeps and takes a heck of a lot of damage.
Naturally, though, trading the exhaust cooldown for the flash cooldown will always be worth. The exhaust will come up earlier, not nearly as needed because you're not even in the 2v2 anyway. But kind of the cute little Afrika lane camp there.
Very cute. As EasyHoon the cop an auto attack here. He has to be very careful. Flash may need to be blown as he does have cleanse available, but it's not really going to do anything here as they're trying to flash forward. There it is! The first blood going to Snoopy, and EasyHoon just warding at the wrong time.
And the true killer there was the fact that March had the red buff available, so being able to proc that slow, and EasyHoon was extended towards the strong side of his map, but like you said, caught out warding.
Well, dangerous start here for Vici, as Saint looking to put the pressure on early. March going to be taking down his blue buff.
But this is also where we expect the pressure to come out of Saint. Again, it's a Graves and it's a Lissandra. Lissandra is one of the few champions that, through the duration of her ult in tandem with Graves, can 100-0 someone because it is a burst-style jungler versus a tank-style jungler like the likes of Rek'Sai or even kind of the rise of Hecarim.
Yeah.
Although Hecarim's doing ridiculous amounts of damage right now.
Yeah, if he does build that Trinity Force especially. You can see it looks like the lane swap has been answered by Saint, though, as Jhin and Karma are going to move up towards the top side, not electing to take down these first turrets at all. So after what was a difficult start for Acorn, we'll see whether he can get his way back in, because, of course, Endless did sacrifice 3 melee minions for that as well.
And the big difference is going to be that CS discrepancy in the top lane. However, 15-2, although a big wave is pushing into Acorn, so we'll see how much of that he's able to salvage.
Yeah, same can be said here for the bottom lane on the top side of the map, as 12-23 is the current scoreline, but with this extra creep wave moving in and another one to clean up, Endless should be okay. March looking to try and clear out some vision. Oh, doesn't find it, just puts a ward in there. There it is.
He's looking at his camp. Meanwhile, Dandy has actually snuck up behind him and laid down some deep vision in the jungle. Deciding
not to go back here as well as he cancels that recall. We'll see whether he actually decides to go for a gank here on the bottom lane.
There's no exhaust available on Caveman, so the only summoner discrepancy here. But it's because he's been spotted out by a ward on Raptors.
Well, there's the tunnel teleport coming in immediately afterwards as well as STYZ does flash away. There's the pillar from Long as well as he flashes on top of STYZ. Picks up the kill. The Ignite's ticking down, but he takes the magical journey and will get to relative safety. Snoopy and Acorn both making their way up as EasyHoon, no movement at all so far, and Endless is going to be the casualty here from Snake. So it's a 1-for-1, 2 teleports for 1.
And that's kind of the fumble there from Vici, is not accounting for the double teleport because, again, there is a cleanse on that EasyHoon as well as he had lost control of the lane early. The reason why the trigger was pulled is because as Dandy moved in to lay down that vision behind the enemy red buff, he spotted out March on the Raptor camp. So thinking that they had a wide enough window where they could execute on the teleport and burst someone out.
Well, they certainly did so earlier on, but it was a nice, I guess, reaction here from Saint to make sure that they could get back. EasyHoon has brought back a lot of control into this lane. Same level as Snoopy at the moment, but with control of that wave and definitely in the lead as far as creeps.
Also having that blue buff certainly isn't harming his chances.
Certainly not. Now we are going to have things completely switch back to standard League of Legends.
Although, again, still a big advantage for Long, not only with the CS and having the pressure point on Acorn with some possibly experience, although we'll have to check, but having the kill.
Yeah. Hasn't been back to base to spend money on it. Does have a cull here picked up at the same time, so looking to really scale as best he can.
That's the word, the buy. The buy advantage and the kill advantage.
All right, Dandy continues to clear out creeps. March doing very, very well. Ahead by 1 at the moment. So this early game, very, very close. First blood, of course, in favor of Saint, giving them that slight gold advantage. However, EasyHoon probably not going to sweat it too much. He's on his Azir. Very comfortable.
Trying to get EasyHoon to a point when he's ready to team fight, though, can be a little bit difficult for Vici.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Especially when they're put into standard lanes. Again, their 2v2 is a bit lackluster, particularly on the bottom side.
Well, right now, Endless and Caveman having a little bit of trouble here with STYZ and Meidong.
It's hard, effectively, to beat the Jhin Karma lane. You have to make sure that you out-trade over 4 auto attacks, which is why Dandy is now posturing to assist his bottom lane a bit. But good defensive vision from Saint mean that Dandy has wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, he has. Over wards here as well from everywhere as he takes his tunnel back into the jungle, but continues to be in full vision of Saint. keeping eyes on Dandy, definitely a good tactic here for the team.
And March has made a great priority of not only getting deep vision in Dandy's red jungle, but also prioritizing taking advantage of the Scuttle Crab. He's actually taking Scuttle Crab on top side.
Oh, Caveman in a whole host of trouble. Does manage to make his way out, but will possibly have to think about going back to base.
That was just a little bit strange. Getting punished trying to exit lanes when SDYZ has set up a horde of traps right there.
Yeah, also, no fear at all.
He's
trusting in the minion wave.
He's trying to clear them out as well.
Well, Endless doing well, picking up creeps where he can. 5 behind at the moment as the wave crashes towards Saint. So SDYZ going to continue getting a bit of a lead here in this lane. Back comes in for Akon, looking to go for that dash cannon first up. 47 to 45, but Lung is going to be able to equalize that one out. Caveman just steps on another captive audience. Do you call the trap a captive audience? I know the spell is called that, but I don't know whether you necessarily call the trap the name of the spell.
Looks like a death
Sounds
notice.
a bit weird.
Although he's not exactly Katarina.
Yeah, maybe we'll just call it a trap.
Should be noted, though, that Snoopy did take a bit of a trip outside the mid lane. He did find one of Dandy's tunnels and eradicate that, but without the teleport, showing some movement that he's willing to get involved in the bottom side of the map.
Well, especially now that he has that Frozen Tomb available as well. March with the collateral damage. Equalizer on Akon. This is the time where Saint can really start a fight if they want to. This was, you know, seasons past. We might see moves towards the Dragon. We'll see whether Saint do decide to do that. Waiting for teleports. Snoopy's almost available as Acorns is well and truly here. Dandy going to get discovered by Akon, and the equalizer goes down. Dandy is going to get a knock-up, but Akon really wants this kill. Doesn't have the flash. And Long is just going to use that pillar, gets his jungler to safety.
And Saint have been making it a team effort to keep tabs on Vici's jungler right there.
Yeah.
Seeing that his Raptor camp was gone, knowing that Dandy was on the top side of the map, and calling for Acorn to check on the Krug camp.
Yeah, now lots of pings from Saint here into the mid lane as well, capitalizing on the fact that Dandy was shoved out. He's going to use his ultimate to get back into the jungle. They don't necessarily know exactly where he is, but they will now, as EasyHoon moves over to pick up the blue buff.
This does give full advantage for Saint to move towards this Mountain Dragon, but they're a little bit slow on the rotation, which means that they can't just outright take it.
Well, Endless now as well. Having the wave over his side of the map is going to feel much better. He's gone back, grabbed himself a BF sword. Decent first buy here as EasyHoon moves out of the way of Snoopy. Gets hit by a Q though.
Saint are trying to be very patient, but might force it a little bit. They're trying to set up a trap. So they knew that EasyHoon and Dandy were on blue. Speaking of trap, hold on.
Yeah, Maedong is going to get slowed down here as there's the combo of CC as March flashes forward. Caveman not going to fall down just yet after the flash. Nicely played from the support of Vici, and they get out alive.
But still, it's Saint being a little bit desperate, a little bit over-eager right there. They knew that EasyHoon and Dandy went for the blue buff, took it, so they used that time frame to move in, ward up Dandy's red side jungle, and then try to set a trap. At first, they waited in a bush for Dandy to appear. Dandy was taking Gromp. Then they start to look at EasyHoon as Karma wanders back towards the bottom lane. EasyHoon's not in position for a gank. Finally, they think that they find a support pick, and they actually pull the trigger on attempting a teleport from Snoopy, but nothing comes of it. So they tried to set up a play there, but just couldn't be patient enough for the execution.
Didn't quite figure it out. Now EasyHoon able to capitalize. 25 CS in the lead. Snoopy with almost a Rod of Ages completed. Caveman back into the lane. Everything as usual. Snare not going to come in just yet from Maedong. He's taking a lot of harassment from Caveman off to the side. He does have his mobility boots completed now as well.
We're starting to have two open discrepancies as March stands still. That was cute. But EasyHoon taking advantage of this mid lane, now 97 to 77, so in full EasyHoon Azir swing. But this discrepancy is compensated by Saint's bottom lane. STYZ 95 to 82.
Ooh, he's going to get stunned up by that Cosmic Binding though, as Endless moves out of the way of the Flourish. Still a lot of action here towards the bottom side. They want to find some sort of kill. Lung now fighting against Akon, does have his Subjugate available, may have to use it here as Akon is going to overheat. Doesn't pull the trigger on the equalizer.
Yeah, the confidence that the overheat was coming in.
But Akon with some control in this lane as well, and Saint This is not something we necessarily talk about too much, but they do have a lot of control here in this early game.
It should force out the teleport from Long in response to make sure he catches the wave. No, he's actually going to go ahead and hold it. So tells me that Vici are looking to make a play down on the map.
Yeah, and there it is, March. He's going to get singled out here as the Tempered Fate locks him up for some time. Teleport coming in from Akon, but the Cosmic Binding's going to lock up the jungler. Long throws down the pillar. As you can see, Dandy's going to be the first to fall. March grabs that kill. It's a 1-for-1 though as both junglers fall down. Vici, we'll see whether they can find any more as the teleport was cancelled from Akon.
Yeah, unfortunately, because both junglers fall, it means that no one's going to get any priority for the dragon objective. It is going to be a mountain dragon right now, so those kills don't translate into anything else, but Vici, again, kind of telegraphing that they really wanted that play on the bottom side. Dandy continuously hanging around there, taking crubs, trying to slip into the back, spotted out by wards. They finally pull the trigger with Long. Both teleports now down on top.
Yeah, and ultimate down as well for the whole bottom lane. As Long is going to shove another wave into Akon, who will be here to pick that one up.
And Mountain Dragon means a lot for Vici, not only because they're a cerebral team, they like to siege towers, they like to make plays around the map, but it's also the dragon that they statistically have the most control of or preference for. I believe they have a 28% of their dragons are mountain drakes. The next closest one is 12.
Well, Snoopy just going to use a Glacial Path, gets himself out of the way of the ultimate out of EasyHoon, but may need to go back now. Is going to do so. Doesn't have teleport, but does have his Rod of Ages already completed. Boomerang comes in, but Vici well and truly in control of this lane at the moment. Absolutely fine. However, have fallen behind as far as CS is concerned. STYZ still doing well on his Jhin. As EasyHoon just harassing out the jungler. Snoopy's going to make his way in, and Shifting Sand's going to get EasyHoon out. Cute play is Endless now. Continuous attacks here as Maydon getting taken down very low. Nice auto attack there from Endless, does a fair bit of damage. As Caveman walks over another trap. They don't want to go too deep. That Cosmic Binding was very close.
March might be cut out here.
Yeah, Dandy looking for it. Doesn't have... Oh, does have Flash. Can get the Unburrow if he wants to. There it is. March actually taking a lot of damage, but Dandy right in amongst it. EasyHoon will need one more auto attack. Flashes for it as Snoopy now going to the next target. Lung's going to make his way in. Can he get the pillar down as the Frozen Tomb's going to save Snoopy? Dandy so close to dying as there's the Tempered Fate. And that could actually seal it here for Snoopy as the Flash comes in from Lung. They'll lock down the mid laner. And this tanky Trundle will walk out with his life.
Yeah, overconfidence from March right there to be so aggressive in Dandy's jungle, especially because EasyHoon had the earlier and easier rotation on him.
Yeah, really nice play here from Vici. Understanding what they want now with the gold lead. Only about 200.
It's just this continuous idea that Saint understand what they want to do. They want the Lissandra and the Graves burst. They want to find these kills on EasyHoon, but they just don't have the patience or the experience to pull it off.
And they did manage to get the first blood, and unfortunately from that point on, they couldn't find that snowball, exactly how you were saying. And EasyHoon's gone nuts. He's 35 CS in the lead.
Comfortable, exactly where he wants to be on his signature pick in the Azir.
Yeah.
Vici still do have one of the longer games in the LPL. They play well with a lead, but they're not one of those teams that will use their lead and then continuously find engagements.
We need to put this in the context of WE being in the LPL. So to have one of the longest games is pretty ridiculous because theirs are pretty long.
Team WE have the longest, but Vici are right there.
Well, Vici continuing to make more and more leaps and bounds towards this as it looks like the Dragon is under fire. March hanging around here with Maydong. They don't start it up, and there is vision available here from Vici. Will die off very soon, though. EasyHoon now just clearing out the mid lane, making sure that Snoopy can't feel free to roam.
Just the comfort in Vici to understand that it's fine. We're not losing anything. It's not like Saint have tried to pull the trigger or pull pressure on Dragon, though as I say that, they're now trying to do it with the back timing from Caveman.
Yeah, and it actually is going to be started up here as Dandy throwing out some Prey Seekers. We'll know exactly what's going on. We'll see whether the Prince of Thieves can get something done to this. Half the health now down on this Mountain Drake as there are relatively low health bars. Not going to get snared up, but actually there it is. Dandy going to tunnel away. down to half health as the Dragon's still being aggressed on. March looks for the Tempered Fate, finds it on 3 members of Saint, as Dandy's going to get a massive knock-up. March already dying, but the equalizer is going to be enough. Acorn trying to make a hero of himself, but Easy Hoon's in there, splits up the fight completely, and Snoopy now on his own. STYZ trying to fight Easy Hoon, but that is a battle you ain't going to win. And that's a double kill for the mid laner, Vici. That's one of the best skirmishes I think I've seen them play.
Easyhoon and Dandy came up massive, not only for when the fight was actually pulled, but the fact of the matter is that 2 members pretty much zoned up the entire force of Saint. That was a 2v4 for the longest part. It's only now, as the teleport comes in and as Caveman throws the Tempered Fate, that the rest of Vici have even shown up to this team fight. Easyhoon then does a great job. Acorn lays a nice equalizer, but it's too little too late. Easyhoon waits until the damage is done, swoops in and saves the day.
Yeah, and swoop is exactly what he did. And went toe-to-toe with STYZ, and he wasn't going to be able to find that one.
But again, that was Dandy and Easyhoon zoning off 4 members of Saint, starting that initial Dragon skirmish before the rest of their team collapsed.
Well, understanding exactly when they have to pull the trigger, as they were able to take the mid lane outer turret as well as that Dragon, really asserting dominance over this game now. About 3,000 gold is the lead, as March looking to try and clear out vision and some tunnels.
And reminder that Vici weren't the ones looking to pull the trigger on that Dragon. Again, they have a 3-item power spike in Sivir and a 3-item power spike in the Azir. They were more than happy to just continuously sit in their lanes, not give up any objective, but to farm closer to those power spikes. It was Saint getting antsy and trying to be over-aggressive on starting something that bit them in the ass.
Yeah, they certainly did. As that battle for vision lasted a very long time. I believe Saint put about 4 wards into that brush. Eventually did manage to come out ahead, taking 2 pink wards with them. So nicely done. See whether they can get something out of it. It's Easyhoon and Snoopy still facing off. Lots of stacks at the moment in this Rod of Ages, so lots of health on the Lissandra. Endless eats himself a Deadly Flourish. And that is 2 items already on Easyhoon. I mean, he's got his Rylai's, he's got his Nash's Tooth, he's ready to go. As Long almost has the Ravenous Hydra completed as well. And with the Spirit Visage, he's probably going to be fine here against the Rumble. As now STYZ in trouble, gets slowed down by the Cosmic Binding. There's the flash, gets the double knock-up. Maydong may fall down from this as well, as the Tempered Fate is going to prolong his life. Easyhoon just wants a kill, picks one up. And it's just almost looks like luxury here for Vici.
Vici so well about playing around the map. They have control in the mid lane, which means that Easyhoon just needs to pressure it forward and then can make these roams to the bottom side. Unfortunately for Snoopy, yeah, he has the TP available, so he could follow, but it's too little too late for his bottom lane. Nice play from Saint. The response on the top side, though.
Yeah, they are able to grab that. Long, of course, backed off in time to save his life there, but they are going to trade turrets. Outer falls for the outer on the top side.
But what Vici can do now is they can have the decision where we're either pushing through on the bottom side, or we're then rotating over to the middle lane. They have 2 pressure points mid and bot, so Saint now forced to be reactive.
Yeah, and Easyhoon now shoving this wave all the way up to the inner turret. Gets actually a fair bit of damage down as well, as the Mantra Q not going to find the Birdman.
Trap being set up, actually.
Well, Easyhoon's pretty good bait. We've seen him work quite well so far this game.
Okay, this is cute, and I think perfectly displays the difference between these teams so far. We talked about how Vici took control of 2 pressure points, mid and bottom. Easyhoon, the golden fried chicken, high in fiber, quite delicious, super far forward. Just waiting for Snoopy to make his way over, try to get a flank. Meanwhile, Vici had set up 3 of their members in a brush, trying to camp and wait. We've seen Saint do this earlier in the map, but they just get a little bit antsy. They try to find plays elsewhere. Vici like, he's not coming. This is fine. Free back.
Yeah, they do exactly that. You can see now Endless towards the top side of the map, trying to grab this outer turret. The last remaining outer for Vici to get. Was 2 turrets to 1 is the favor for Vici at the moment. Blue buff going to be delivered here to Easyhoon. No vision available for Saint on that buff. Currently, the only deep vision is sort of 1 in that banana brush towards the Baron, and that raptor brush as well on the bottom side of the map. So Saint not with quite the vision that they had earlier on in the series, which was actually quite noteworthy. As March looking for Dandy, who will be able to clear out vision, and he's very tanky right now. Spirit Visage already completed. End of the line. Does a bit of damage. Caveman helping keep him alive as Snoopy and Long battling it out here. Long doesn't really want to give away any ground. Does have his Ravenous Hydra, so he's just going to get right back up to health after killing a few creeps.
Also has his Spirit Visage, so he's not afraid of Snoopy. Will be able to bully that Lissandra and bully Rumble, so Long has really good lane assignments right now due to his itemization on either teleport user for Saint.
Yeah, precisely. As EasyHoon looking to try and get away from the Graves. There's the curtain call, actually, as Dandy is going to be able to block for EasyHoon. Tempered Fate comes in. STYZ knocked out of the ultimate. The knock up onto March, but he gets healed up, and Dandy in trouble now. Will take a magical journey, and I feel he's going to survive, even through that Ignite. Deadly Flourish, once again spell shielded. And Vici, fantastic disengage play, but don't manage to pick up the initial kill that they wanted. Should
be noted, though, that Acorn is having really nice equalizers, kind of the shining light for Saint's composition. Yes, they're still slowly hemorrhaging map.
Yeah.
And cold leads to Vici, but Acorn's trying to do what he can.
We'll see whether he can actually find a way into this one. The dash cannon working wonders so far, as he now has that Zhonya's completed, even on farm. But no one's anywhere near EasyHoon right now. Ahead of the clock on the Azir as per usual. Able to get around the map and just decimate people. Hasn't been back to base for quite some time either, as you got 4-0-3 sitting on Long and 4-1-3. For EasyHoon. And if you're talking about Vici as a team, having their solo laners be the ones with all the kills seems like a Vici game to me.
It's exactly where their power points should be in terms of who's going to carry on that team and who the win conditions are. So it's naturally nice to have strength on Long, Dandy, and EasyHoon, but even more so when EasyHoon is on the likes of Azir, who can still be that very scary hyper carry come late game, even on 6-11.
Most certainly, of course. Only a couple of small changes, mostly to do with that Emperor's Divide not lasting for as long, nor giving his teammates movement speed while they run through it, which honestly made no sense anyway, so not too much of a problem. Infernal Drake is now spawned, though.
I like to imagine all the little sand soldiers, like, as the teammates are running through, are just giving them, like, the pat on the butt. Like, you see in the sports, like, good job, man. Just makes them run a little bit faster.
Yeah, and look, the Sand Soldiers are going to be doing pretty well as well now, because EasyHoon just built a full Void Staff when he went back to base.
So looking for a really big, immediate mid-game power spike with a very early Void Staff. Or an earlier Void Staff in terms of rotation.
Yeah, precisely. Not a whole lot of magic resist built up. I mean, he probably wants it for that Abyssal Scepter that is now on Snoopy. And
that would kind of be the other option, is going for the Abyssal here.
Yeah.
Especially because you're facing across from the likes of Lissandra and Rumble.
Well, at the moment, Vici just going to be taking this one away. EasyHoon going to help out with a heck of a lot of damage in this Infernal Drake. Not long for the world. Next one is going to be a Cloud. So it's going to be a cloudy, hot day on the mountain after that one does fall down. However, Vici probably not too worried about that. They have exactly the dragons that they want moving into this late game, and does feel a bit like business as usual. Saint will have to try and mix something up, find an engagement they can really capitalize on.
They do have their double teleport, so they could try to make a numbers advantage. That said, even though EasyHoon has the cleanse, because Dandy has Rek'Sai, they still have a semi-global presence, not running double teleport due to the Void Scream. Void Rush, excuse me.
Well, it is a Void Scream. I think you're absolutely correct there. As now Vici grouping around their cleanse mid laner. Long off to the side, will be able to answer any teleports, and Akon with no ability to interrupt that. It's very important to note.
Although his ultimate is going to mean a lot more than Trundle's ultimate.
True.
In terms of a 5v5 scenario.
Especially in this comp. I mean, Subjugate doesn't necessarily cut down a super tank because they're basically all damaged.
And this is the other cool thing about Bard and why it's not just a high priority for Caveman and his own individual performance, but also Vici as a whole. Again, they're a macro-based team. They like to get around the map. Having that magical journey works wonders.
Well, Caveman going to get immediately singled out here as Akon's Equalizer is going to finish off the kill. Long right underneath the turret. A little bit unfortunate placement as Snoopy now looking for Dandy. Finds the Frozen Tomb. EasyHoon still with a lot of damage, but everyone flashing on top of him. He has to flash away. Nice, Shifting Sands is going to get him out, and it's only the carries that remain here from Vici. Saint, they find that team fight.
Yeah, 3 members deleted for Vici, and they can actually swing this directly into the Baron. EasyHoon is available as well as Sivir, so a lot of AoE damage to try to keep Saint off of this, but now pressure on Endless and EasyHoon.
Yeah, and who do they have to tank this one up as well? As Snoopy's going to teleport his way in. You can see EasyHoon and Endless, they are so low. Double kill instantly for EasyHoon. He's doing so much damage, but eventually they do fall down. But have they saved the Baron? And I think they have.
So again, pressure on EasyHoon and Endless. Not necessarily Endless that steps up, but EasyHoon definitely using the Azir ultimate and just slapping 2 members in the face from Saint, deleting them from the map. As we actually take a look at that last team fight. Caveman was caught out, just obliterated. Acorn again doing a wonderful job with his equalizer placement to split up team fights. But frankly, it's just Vici not being together as a team against that 5v5 comp.
Yeah. And as well, the Duskblade of Drakthar just got a kill onto Lung. So this is a big deal moment.
Rusty considers this more of a luxury item. We started to see the rise of this itemization on the likes of Misfortune and Jin.
Yeah.
Just because of how it'll work with their Qs and being able to proc and do ridiculous amounts of damage.
Very cute coming out of S2IZ.
Still think that coming out this early in your itemization might punish you through like longevity of team fights or more sustained damage because you're sacrificing a lot of your other battle stats for it on items like Infinity Edge or Essence Reaver or whatever direction you want to go. But that said, if your Jin is just to sit back and pretty much throw abilities like the ultimate, like the Q, because you have so many answers to the Jin.
Yeah, I like it.
Working for him.
Also, more flat armor penetration, which Jin does like a lot. It's EasyHoon clearing out vision here in this mid lane. And Vici have been able to reset 6, 2, and 3 for EasyHoon so far. Does have himself some Sorcerer's Shoes and a sneaky needlessly large rod. We'll see what he goes into with that one. Will most likely be a Rabbidan's Death Cap. And he'll be doing about 1 trillion damage per Sand Soldier auto attack.
Trillion
approximately.
Might be a bit of an understatement.
Well played. I thought you might have said overstatement there. I'm like, no.
I've learned just to let you go with it, Atlas. Be free.
Well, you can see Baron control now being gained by Vici. 2 minutes until the Dragon. That's not where their focus lies at the moment, especially not when it's a Cloud.
I was going to say only an Air Drake. Although they don't necessarily have the best ward coverage over the Baron due to a lot of their sweepers being down and not having any pink wards available. So they're trying to take control of this red jungle, but they just don't have the vision control. And speaking of vision control, deep teleport from Acorn on their blue buff.
Massive flank here as there's the equalizer onto EasyHoon and Caveman. Shifting Sand's not available as Lung's going to teleport in, and Vici now have the 5-man stack ready and waiting, and that is a big ultimate cooldown now missing. Lung takes half of his health bar already. Spirit Visage and Subjugate will help get him back up there, but EasyHoon going to make his way out of this one completely. And Saint are able to now set up for this Baron.
Yeah, better positioning for Saint on the mid tower, so we'll get some nice chip damage, if not completely remove that one from the map. So TP doesn't give them the 5v5 that they were looking for, but does give them the structure as Caveman counter-engage.
Yeah, there's a big Tempered Fate on a Maydong and March. The immediate knock-up comes in as Endless able to chuck down a lot of damage. EasyHoon as well, he's going to be able to pick up that kill as the collateral damage flies through. March, though, has to use the flash. That's an interesting magical journey, as Dandy is going to get stunned up. And Vici think that they might have the pick in order to try and get around this Baron again.
Have to be very careful. They're pretty much just looking for another priority pick, banking that the equalizer is still down because March is up and available, so this can be a smite contestation, which is why Dandy is looking for the assassination. Yeah,
there it is. March already down quite low here as STYZ off to the backside. Not going to find the stun onto Dandy, but Lung is going to get stopped from closing in on the jungler. Snoopy now off to the side, takes a lot of damage from these Vici members as he gets a nice snare before clawing over the wall, but has to use his ultimate on himself. This is a lot of damage now missing from the potential team fight. Oh my god, that Zhonya's timing from Acorn was fantastic. His equalizer was back up. Lung right in the front line. Low health bars on Saint, and they are able to take down the AD carry, but EasyHoon is still up. He's the one they need to think about. Vici cannot find any more. Caveman going back. That is, what, a 1-for-1 in the end.
Okay, so it was a mistake from Vici to think that they could look for the Baron. What they should have done is prioritize denying a vision and setting up picks for Saint. Saint would have to check that pit if their trinkets were down, and they could have tried to find a pick and then rotate into the Baron. But because they did Baron and looked for a pick, they have their health bars and they have their chances at getting on that Baron. Good news for Saints fans, Acorn's playing like a beast.
He is an absolute monster. Second equalizer in that fight, if we talk about it being sort of the extended fight that it was. Both of them in pretty fantastic positions. Endless suffering for that. Nice damage here out of S2IZ as well over that fight. As long with his Ravenous Hydra really getting amongst it.
S2AZ able to freely put out his damage and not worry so much simply because Caveman's Tempered Fate had been used as a primary engage tool for the initial flank for Vici.
It does have to be very careful of EasyHoon though, because we saw just there 2 Sand Soldiers hitting him once did half of his health.
Control mages.
Yeah, precisely as much. He's going to be able to kick Dandy out of his jungle. Acorn and Maydong now towards the top side, and Saint collapsing. Snoopy does have his teleport, as Lung looking to take down this dragon on his own. And that will be Cloud Drake falling in favor of Vici, Caveman, and Easy Hoon. Sorry, and Dandy looking for something. Not going to find it as the magical journey is going to be taken. Dragon falls down, and Elder Drake will be spawning in another 6 minutes.
Both Saint and Vici have the highest Elder Drake in the league.
Ooh, here's the flash, though, as Acorn does have to get himself out of there.
They got nothing.
Yeah.
That was silly.
Okay, no flash was actually burnt either. I thought I heard one, but didn't happen. On the Hunt was used.
Proto Belt.
Yeah. Dash Cannon gets me every time. Long. Look at that Duskblade damage, man. Did nothing. King's Tribute, pretty powerful. Now Baron getting taken down extraordinarily fast. You can see Caveman now able to catch out March, who has given away his position. Tempered Fate is going to lock him down, and Dandy secures the Baron after the Tempered Fate stops the jungler from even contesting.
Unfortunate backs from Saint, but they're trying to find the counter engagement. They have a lot of abilities that can go over walls.
Yeah.
But the Empowered Recalls do get Vici out with no casualties, so great Baron timing from Vici Gaming.
Yeah, and they were just very persistent with that Baron. Eventually they do manage to get it. STYZ answers with the turret in the mid lane as Dandy says, well, I'm not going back. I still got full health.
He's pretty cheekily using his Void Rush to reposition himself.
Oh, and steal away a potential blue buff here as well, as Snoopy's going to make his way over. Dandy just going to smite it away, and he's pretty damn tanky. So Maydong and Snoopy going to have trouble killing this guy as the knock-up comes in. Maydong is going to be the one caught out here as Caveman slows him down with the Meep Slap. Frozen Tomb comes in, but Dandy just eats it, doesn't really care. Nice equalizer, but everyone going to move out of the way, and Vici grab the pick that they're looking for, and turrets all across this map.
So Vici set that up brilliantly. They had the ward on the Baron, on the blue buff before they actually took the Baron. Hold on, though. Yeah,
Endless actually, nice flash over that wall. That is a huge one, as March taking a lot of damage now from Easy Hoon.
So they had the ward on the blue buff before they take the Baron. Dandy, after taking Baron, throws a pressure point to the top side by using Void Rush as kind of that pseudo TP.
Yeah.
So he draws STYZ to the top side, immediately rushes to the blue buff, seeing that no one's on it, takes it, and is now pressuring bottom.
Yeah, and Dandy looking for the dive. Snoopy already turns himself gold, though, but look at this AoE. Easy Hoon turns up, and everyone's falling. March immediately fell down as Endless is going to take down this turret. 3 dead for Saint. And the base is now falling apart. Baroned up minions heading towards him.
And on the back of this Baron, Vici have just obliterated Saint. They've worked them around the map. They knew where they were going to be at every corner, and they did a fantastic job gathering that information.
Well, and then the Emperor's Divide is going to secure them, the top laner, as well as Maydong probably has to just walk to his fountain, but I don't even think he'll be able to as he gets stunned up against the pillar. And the ace comes in. Vici will take down game number 1 against Saint and find some redemption after their loss to Newbie.
And a very decisive victory as well. It was still very much in the way that Vici Gaming like to win. You know, their win conditions are on the likes of Dandy, Easy Hoon, and Long. Long in particular on that Trundle, getting so far ahead, making sure that the double teleport could never be used to its fullest extent.
Yeah.
Because they can't find the lane assignments to split push or push against that fed Trundle.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, Saint did have some good early movements. They managed to get the first blood onto Easy Hoon. Things were looking okay, but unfortunately just wasn't enough because Vici found their foot in the door. They found exactly what they wanted to do around this map, and all of a sudden, Easy Hoon was massive, had a huge creep advantage, and Lung was a gigantic troll.
And it was really these teleport plays, which that was the primary difference. Again, it was Saint that had the double teleport, but they never put themselves in a situation where they could consistently pull the trigger on that double TP to find themselves a strong advantage. They just weren't patient enough to set up the plays that would collapse in the middle of them, get a little bit antsy, get a little bit reckless, and throw away their leads.
However, we did see a lot of really proactive play out of Vici here as well. I mean, a lot of it owing to Caveman's Bard, who was played out fantastically well, especially in this team fight, singling out 3 members, and giving Easy Hoon this phenomenal Emperor's Divide to split up the fight.
And this was the biggest turning point for Vici that gave them the most control. And again, they weren't even looking at this dragon. They didn't really want anything to do with it. Obviously, you don't want to give up a Mountain Drake, but they were more than content to sit in their lanes and to farm to Sivir's Power Spike, to farm to Azir's Power Spike. It was Saint saying, we want to fight right now. We think we have an appropriate back timing on the support, and trying to force a fight that wasn't 100% for them.
Well, they did most certainly get that. Saint showing some signs of life, though, especially in that last team fight. And the Rumble play out of Acorn was fantastic, despite them falling behind. Oh my god, that Cosmic Binding was out of control. And Caveman, you just can't give him Bard. It's just too dangerous.
It's not even just his individual performance, but again, what Bard opens up and allows for Vici as a team. You have tons of cross-map play with the Magical Journey and with the long-range engagement from Tempered Fate.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is a best of 3. We'll see whether Saint can have a good start once again and carry it through to a victory in this best of 3 series. We'll see whether Vici can close this one out 2-0. Don't go anywhere.